Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
So, when you hear the name Franz Kafka, what's the first thing that pops in your head? For a lot of us, it's that feeling of dread, right? We think about endless bureaucracy, those anxiety dreams you can't wake up from, maybe even turning into a giant bug. And as this collection's translator, Alexander Sterrett, puts it so well, the word that usually follows Kafkaesque is nightmare.
But here's the thing, and this is really the secret to Kafka's power. The reason his work still feels so incredibly relevant. What if those bizarre, nightmarish worlds are so unsettling because, deep down, they feel, well, familiar? What if they're just holding up a mirror to the hidden weirdness and anxieties of our own lives?
So let's get to the core idea here. Kafka isn't just writing strange stories for the sake of being strange. He's actually building these incredibly detailed worlds that run on their own hidden logic. And in doing so, he exposes these invisible systems of power and bureaucracy that are running our lives, often in ways we don't even see.
Now, you might have heard his novels are a bit of a marathon, but his short stories, that's where you find his genius in its most concentrated form. The translator calls them quick, funny, strange, and sad, all at once. Honestly, they are the perfect way to start, the key to understanding why his writing was and still is a total earthquake in literature.
To really get Kafka, you kind of have to understand the rules of the maze his characters are always trapped in. So let's break down the 4 key pillars that hold up his strange and unsettling world.
First up, power. In Kafka's universe, authority is almost always completely random and illogical. It doesn't have to explain itself, and when it passes judgment, well, that's it. There is no appeal. There is no escape.
This tiny little fable just nails it. You've got a mouse, right? It's running straight into a trap, and a cat comes along and offers what seems like perfectly good advice. Hey, just turn around. But the moment the mouse follows that logical advice, it gets eaten, you see? In this world, authority doesn't just make the rules, it literally defines reality itself. Escape is just another part of the trap.
All right, rule number 2, and this one is a big one, a crushing sense of guilt. Kafka's characters are always walking around feeling like they've done something terribly wrong. But here's the crazy part. They never know what their crime actually is. They just accept, deep down, that they deserve to be punished.
This line is from The Verdict, and it's so shocking. A son is just suddenly, out of nowhere, condemned to death by his own father. But the truly Kafkaesque moment, the son immediately accepts it. He just goes and carries out the sentence on himself. The guilt is just a given, a fact of life. This constant feeling of being trapped leads us right to the 3rd pillar, the infinite process. In Kafka's world, whatever you're looking for, whether it's an answer or justice or just a simple message, it's always, maddeningly, just out of reach. And this is captured so perfectly in A Message from the Emperor. A messenger is sent with a vital, personal message from the dying emperor just for you. But the thing is, he can't even get out of the palace. The system is just too big, too complex. The process itself becomes the prison. That message, it's never going to arrive.
So, finally, where does all this lead? It all culminates in this profound, deep feeling of alienation. Kafka's characters are total outsiders in a world that just doesn't make any sense. They feel disconnected from everything. Their purpose, their own bodies, sometimes even reality itself.
This image from the bridge is so haunting, and it says it all. The narrator is an object, a thing, with one single purpose. But the second it acts with consciousness, the moment this bridge tries to turn around and see, it shatters. It's this tragic, bizarre metaphor for feeling alienated from your own very nature.
Okay, if there is one single story that gives you the perfect visual for Kafka's entire worldview, it has to be this tiny parable called Before the Law. I mean, this is the ultimate metaphor for how he saw systems of power really working. The story kicks off with this fascinating paradox. The law, right, is supposed to be for everyone, accessible all the time. So what happens when you finally get there and you find this huge open gate and you're told that this specific entrance was made just for you, but you still can't go in? The plot is just brutally simple. A man shows up and the gatekeeper says, "Sorry, you can't come in right now." The gate is wide open, but the man decides to wait for permission. He waits for days, then years. He spends his entire life getting old and frail, sitting right there beside that one open door.
And then, just as the man is dying, the gatekeeper delivers the final, devastating punchline. This gate was only for you. No one else could have even used it. And now that you're done, I'm going to close it. The system seemed universal and indifferent, but its cruelty was deeply, intimately personal.
So why does Kafka still feel like such an earthquake a full century later? Well, it's because the systems he was describing, they haven't gone anywhere. If anything, they've just gotten bigger and more complicated. I mean, have you ever felt completely lost in a bureaucratic nightmare, filling out form after form for a system that feels like it was designed to make you give up? Or have you ever felt judged by these invisible forces you can't name? That feeling, that alienation of modern life, of being a tiny cog in a giant machine you'll never understand, that is the Kafkaskian experience. He wasn't just writing nightmares, he was writing prophecies about us.
And this brings us to that final, lingering question his work really leaves us with. In a world of unseen systems and endless waiting, aren't we all, in some small way, just sitting by the window, dreaming of a message that we know, deep down, is probably never going to come?
This explainer was based on the essential stories of Franz Kafka, pulled from the collection The Unhappiness of Being a Single Man, which was brilliantly translated by Alexander Sterrett.
We really encourage you to read the full collection. You can support the people who make these books happen by buying a copy, or you can always find it at your local library.
And if you want to go even deeper on all of this, our full, long-form deep dive into the book is waiting for you. All you have to do is follow the link down in the description.
If you enjoy these explainers, please do subscribe and let us know in the comments what books or big ideas you'd like us to tackle next. Thanks so much for watching.